Good morning, Ospreys.
And welcome to Nest News.
I'm Chris Jennings.
I'm Miller Mott.
And today we'll be talking about the impeachment inquiry vote.
And also the battle between UPD and skateboarders around campus.
So stick around because Nest News starts right now. President Donald Trump is facing trouble after House Democrats voted Thursday, 232 to 196, for the approval to officially open an impeachment inquiry.
Only 2 Democrats of the House of Representatives were not in favor of the approval, along with every single Republican in disapproval of the result.
Even though this is the first step in a very lengthy process, the recently approved resolution would detail the rules and guidelines for the impeachment process.
The recent vote marks the 4th time in American history that the Congress begins formal hearings against a sitting U.S. president.
All right. Many students have seen frequent UPD officers patrolling the area around the student union and also Chick-fil-A. They seem to be looking for skateboarders breaking the rules. If you are unfamiliar with the rules, there are many places on campus where you cannot ride your skateboard, like undercover spaces and near most buildings. He doesn't ride a skateboard, but still cares about safety on campus. Miller Mott brings us more on the interesting story and battle between UPD and skateboarders.
Skating is one of the most popular forms of transportation for students trying to get to their classes on campus, but it's also one of the most controversial. We're out here to get some student opinions on skating on campus.
It's definitely easier to get around campus. I think it's convenient. You know, you can bring the board into class with you. You don't have to worry about someone like taking your bike or something like that, and like you can still maneuver pretty well.
Skateboarding is clearly faster than walking. Researchers at UC Davis found skateboarders travel between 6 and 13 miles per hour, which is an average of 2 to 4 times the speed of walking. Skating on campus can get you to your classes faster.
I think it's kind of lame because like even in the road right now, or like if you're trying to skate through the road, it's the responsibility of the drivers not to hit any pedestrians or people going through there. Maybe they should have a semi-course on how to skate on campus just because it's different than rolling around in your front yard.
They fine them?
Yeah, there's like a $30 fine for skating under the walkways and across the crosswalks.
I mean, I could maybe see like through like the busy areas, but areas like that I don't really think that's a big deal.
Skating across a crosswalk like this one here would run you $30. But most skaters, as we've seen today, think the $30 risk is worth it. My name's Miller Mott, Spinnaker News. Skateboards are a popular way of transportation around campus, so staying safe and avoiding tickets are important for campus safety.
Now, for a little something I think more people would be delighted to hear, even though he does sports, Drew McDonald still cares about one beautiful sandwich.
That's right, Chris. I am pleased to be the bearer of great news as the Popeyes fast food chain is bringing their signature chicken sandwich back to the market. Thank God, it's been a long time. Popeyes press release confirming the news was as simple as the chicken sandwich itself. It contained only the 2 words, "I'm back." Yes, it is. And on Sunday, fans of the chicken sandwich will finally be delighted to the flavor goodness, while Chick-fil-A fans wait for theirs to come back on Monday. It's their pleasure. It will be the first time Popeyes will be selling them in months, and its long-awaited re-entry is one for the history books.
Thanks, Drew. We'll see you later in the show. But UNF News, there is some cool stuff happening behind the scenes in the Fine Arts Building recently. The Sound of Music play, which will be performed by the UNF Swoop Troupe, had rehearsals, and reporter Darvin Nelson brings us more on the story.
The UNF Swoop Troupe is producing The Sound of Music and allowed us to get an inside peek of the rehearsal. Could you explain the themes conveyed in The Sound of Music?
Well, one of the main themes is about the love of a family and how it can triumph over anything, and how a family can grow, and how it's not always what you're looking for, but you always end up finding it, even if it takes a little while. Even if you have to climb a few mountains, or if you have to cross some seas, it really just triumphs over everything.
The production rehearsed choreography, some energetic scenes, and the famous Do-Re-Mi number.
Right. Up, out, and come back to first as you come around.
With the enchanting environment and the heartwarming sample of Do-Re-Mi, I can add this to a list of a few of my favorite things. although the production is still trying to find a final opening night, they are expected to perform sometime in January. This is Darwin Nelson with Spinnaker News.
Sound of Music sounds like a terrific show, so make sure to get your dancing shoes on for this wonderful play.
Coming up, we take a look at the best in pop culture.
And yes, that does include news on Young Thug.
So stick around because Nest News will be right back.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let me tell you a little bit about the STEM. My name's Lee Gia. My friends and I have done some amazing things on this show, like flying through hurricanes, or driving Teslas, or swimming with manatees, or even floating in zero gravity. We film these things and bring them here, to the world's next great science and spaceship. That's where the STEM comes in. We go on adventures as an excuse to learn something. The universe is a pretty big place. There's a lot to learn, a lot that's interesting to learn. Over the next year or so, we'll be riding in the centrifuge, farm in the heart of New York City, fly a spaceship, fly President Harry Truman's Air Force One, launch some rockets, catch some rockets, nice! Shoot video at the speed of light. Our world and universe are there, waiting to be explored. The question is, what are you waiting for?
This week in pop culture, we have Young Thug and some weed news.
Plus, news with iPhones and a loss of one of my favorite comedians.
Here's your week's pop culture rundown.
Alright guys, this week, rapper Young Thug has come under fire for telling one of his fans to say F Donald Trump and then forcing that fan out for not even saying it.
He pulled the fan from the crowd when he saw he was wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
Young Thug said he did not want any Trump fans supporting him because they are supporting a quote-unquote racist.
In other news, Bernie Sanders has unveiled his plan for unhinging felons who have been convicted of marijuana charges.
He also has stated that he wants to legalize marijuana with his first 100 days in office. This promise is bold and also more extreme than any of his competitors have made.
While recreational marijuana is not legal in Florida, UNF was at one time ranked one of the schools in regards to marijuana usage.
All right, on to Apple News. If you're like me and really don't care about being up to date on the newest software for your iPhone and simply ignore those pop-up notifications about the newest update, well, old iPhone model users might want to pay attention to Apple's latest announcement.
Yeah, the tech company is warning iPhone 5 users that if they don't update their device by November 3rd, which is this Sunday, it's expected they will lose internet connections and along with other needs such as iCloud and the App Store.
If you missed that deadline, your only option to get your iPhone 5 working properly again will require you to find the nearest Mac or PC in order to begin the much-needed update. Only because over-the-air software updates in iCloud will be suspended for those who waited too late.
And we can't close out pop culture without talking about the sudden death of legendary comedian John Witherspoon.
You may not recognize or you may not be familiar with his name, but I guarantee you'll know the face and more distinctively his voice.
The Friday movie star died at age 77. His family took to Twitter Wednesday to announce the death to the world.
According to NPR, though, the family is in shock right now and asked for privacy in their loss.
Moving on from pop culture, we can bring you into the latest on sports.
And also, we have your weekend weather update.
So stick around because Nest News will be right back. UNF had some totally awesome sports this week.
And interim sports anchor Drew McDonald has got you covered with your Spinnaker Sports Report.
Swoop, there it is, Osprey. Dre Zala here with your next news sports update. Now, earlier this week, the NCAA voted to allow college athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness. This leads all sports fans to wonder, will there be an EA Sports NCAA football video game return? I hope so. It's been gone for way too long. For the first time in franchise history, Washington Nationals have won the World Series after defeating the Houston Astros. This is the first time in World Series history the team has won all their games on the road. Steven Strasburg was awarded the World Series MVP after going 2-0 with 14 strikeouts and 14 in the third innings. Now, in case you didn't know, there's now a Great Wall of Jacksonville. I'm not kidding. LJSC of the UNF men's soccer team coined the nickname for the team's lockdown back line after they defeated the FAU Owls 1-0 this past Wednesday. Now finally, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is this weekend as the number 8 Georgia Bulldogs take on the number 6 Florida Gators on Saturday at TIAA Bank Field. I got the Dogs winning 24-17 in the game on Saturday with 2 touchdowns from DeAndre Swift. I'm Drew McDonald with your next news sports update. Back to Chris and Miller.
Set your clocks back 1 hour this Saturday night, or else mayhem will ensue. You could end up wondering how it's 6:30 in the morning and the sun has already risen. Get it done, Ospreys.
And even though there isn't a Jazz home game this weekend, it is still the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville. What's the weather looking like, Miller?
Yeah, well, for all us Floridians, it's time to break loose those cold weather jackets because we're looking at a crisp, cool, and clear weekend ahead of us. Let's take a look at our beach cam just from a few moments ago. Right now, it's looking pretty calm, and the skies are pretty overcast. There should be some 2 to 3 foot surf building throughout the weekend, and there should be cleaning up on Saturday when the winds go side shore around noon on Saturday. The swell will be lasting through the week where we'll see it pick up just a shade on Monday. Looking at our 3-day weather outlook, we can see today and tomorrow are going to be pretty sunny with a few clouds here and there with highs are just below 70. If you're headed to the Florida-Georgia game tomorrow, you'll want to bring that jacket. Even though it's starting to cool off, you'll also not want to forget the sunscreen. For the rest of the week, we're looking at mostly sunny skies with highs in the mid-70s and lows in the mid-60s. I'm Miller Mott, and this has been your News Nest Weather Outlook.
All right, thanks, Miller.
Well, that's just about wraps it up for today's show.
Before we leave, make sure to follow our Instagram and Twitter, both at UNF Spinnaker.
And subscribe to our newsletter at unfspinnaker.com.
I'm Chris Jennings.
And I'm Miller Mott.
And until next time, swoop, Osprey, swoop.